Module 4, Creating Meshes. In this chapter for the Advanced AutoCAD course, we're going to take a look at these basic mesh shapes, sub-objects, and gizmos, and we're going to create these different drawings using meshes. If we look at the textbook, when we're working with meshes, we're looking at working with these files of these irregular shapes, and they're really kind of surface modeling when they go through and talk about some of the settings that we're updating and changing. And so it has these different mesh primitive panels that we can access in the 3D workspace, and then we can go through and set them up according to the way that they have them outlined in the textbook. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the sub-object editing nature by holding Control and then clicking on these different meshes to move them and then create this shape like this, and then we'll smooth it out. So to get started, we'll open this practice exercise 3-1, and so we can get that file right here within D2L, and so we'll download that and we'll open that. So it's just a blank file. It gives us the proper workspace. I went through and I actually put on a toolbar for these different mesh primitives, but you can find those if you go to the 3D modeling workspace and then you click on meshes, and then we can create a mesh sphere. And so what we'll do is we'll start off by creating a mesh sphere. When it asks for the center point, I'm just going to put 0, 0 as my center point. And then it asks us for a radius, and it tells us we want to make that 20 according to the textbook directions. It says then to check the primitive has an axis of 12 and a height of 6, and the way that you would do that would be that you would go to the mesh primitives style, and then you would look at the sphere, and it tells you that the axis is 12 and the height is 6. Axis of 12 and the height of 6. And then we're going to change this visual style to conceptual and set the edges to 1, which would be on. And so here is my conceptual style, and then I can go and type in VS. I'm going to hit escape to cancel out of that. VSEDGES. And I'll set that to a value of 1 and hit enter. So we've drawn our radius of 20 with our sphere, and then it wants us to set the sub-object to face, and the way that we would do that would be over here in the selection. We set that to face right here. And then what we do is I hold shift in the middle mouse wheel, I orbit this down, and these are the meshes that we're going to alter by moving them down 15 units. And so you can hold Control and click on it, and then I'm going to go shift middle mouse wheel to kind of move that, and then we just grab the blue Z-axis, and we'll pull that down 15 units. And so we click on it, and then you can see the values are updating as we move it. And I'll type in 15 and enter. Then I'll hit escape. And when I did this the first time, I tried to do the top and the bottom, and it didn't quite work out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the geometry for the top, and then I'll do the bottom. And so to do the other geometry in the top, what we're going to do is we're going to change the filter to edges, and then we're going to grab these different meshes, and then we're going to pull them up 15 units. Then we'll flip it over and do the same to the bottom with the faces to kind of make the bottom of this chair work out. And so we can go here to switch this to edges. And then what we do is we select those edges by holding Control and click. And so there's 1, 2, 3, and we'll just take this one 4. We could probably take one more as 5, but I'll leave it the way that is. And then we grab the rocket, move that up, type 15, and hit enter. And you'll notice it doesn't really look the same as it does because of the smoothing value that they applied. And so we will go through and smooth this out, and we'll do that with a quick properties. In the meantime, I'm just going to clear these by hitting escape or clicking off of them. I'm going to switch this back over to face. Shift middle mouse wheel to flip this upside down. Control click. To get those sub-object meshes, shift middle mouse wheel, and then I'll grab the rocket, move that up, type in 15, and hit enter. Shift middle mouse wheel to orbit, and so this is our mesh shape. And then what we can do is we can hit escape, clear out of that, click on the mesh, and go to quick properties, and here they have smoothness, and so we can change the smoothness to level 2. It looks like, you know, we can go through these different ones, but I'm going to leave it at level 2. I'll hit escape, and that's basically it. I'm going to put a title block on this. If you want, you can change the colors of it. I think if we went in here to our layer, you know, if you wanted to change the color, let's see how that works. Apparently it did not, but that's always something. We can put a title block on this. Okay, so let's just keep everything nice and organized. I'm going to say from template, and then I already downloaded a B size into my downloads, and so I'm just going to go snag one out of my downloads. Here's my B size title block. Double click in the viewport, grab an isometric view. We can then take that and we can put a visual style of, I like shaded with edges on. Kind of shows the different ones, and actually you can see the color of the layer now. It's got that light blue. I'm going to double click out of it. I'm going to call it chair. I'll call it mesh chair. And this will be project practice 3-1. put your student name on it. There's no need to worry too much about the scale on it. I did check on this mesh, and I thought it was kind of interesting if we were going to try to create some of these organic shapes with a 3D printer. And we are able to do that. We can actually export it as an STL file. And so if I wanted to, and I've already done that, I exported it. To do it again, I could just go and just say save it, click on it, hit enter, and then I can go into my downloads and I can open that file with a Dremel 3D Builder, or you could go with a different slicing software for 3D printing. And there it is. And so you're actually able to download that and then print these organic shapes on a 3D printer, which I thought was kind of interesting, because you really can't get these type of shapes with some of the parametric modeling. I guess you can, yes, but from a standpoint of working with AutoCAD, we can prototype these as well. Alrighty, so here's our completed lab. Save the file as your initials -3-1, turn it into the assignment folder, and that concludes this video tutorial.